In our first feature, we head to Queensland to see if Carlton can keep their slim hopes of finals alive with a tough and tricky encounter against an industrious Gold Coast side. Geelong have had a tough long year and they host GWS, who have looked really good of late. Can they do the unthinkable and get the win here? The Maggies have been flying, haven't they? And early season chargers St Kilda have suffered a late season blip. Who will get out on top here? Brisbane have been free scoring and winning at will. They entertain a dangerous Kangaroo side. Richmond have found a bit of form late in the season. Can they continue that against another side that has struggled this year in West Coast Eagles? A battle of two giants, two exciting factors in this game. Adelaide Crows go against the Western Bulldogs, who will come out top in a contrast of styles. And we end with Melbourne and Fremantle. Both sides gunning for finals. Melbourne needing a win to get finals. Will they get on here? Hello everyone, welcome to Pommyinoz. I hope we're all doing really well. And welcome to the AFLW Wrap Show. We're nearly at the end of the year. It's nearly the regular season. One more round to go. So if you are new around here, please like, please subscribe. We've got a heap of AFLW and AFL content coming up throughout the year, which is super important. You get that subscribe button. So we start first off with Carlton, and they defeated Gold Coast by 60. Carlton destroyed records and were simply breathtaking throughout this game as they did what they needed to do to keep their hopes of finals alive. Darcy Vesio became the first AFLW player to kick 40 goals, finishing the day with 5 goals and 1 behind from her 15 touches, and she gave off so many as well. She was involved in countless score efforts for the girls. It was just too much for the Suns at Metricon Stadium, and in the first quarter though, the Gold Coast Suns threatened to blow away the Blues. Then first quarter Royals came back and they kicked the first 3 goals of the game. It was tough for them and they fell to a 19-7 quarter time defeat. But it was the golden boot of Vesio, her skill and craft in the forward line that came alive, and once they did, they never looked back as they took the game away in a vicious display of rebounding from 50 and attacking football. Harrington was an absolute rock down the back, 15 touches and 5 marks, and Prespakis, while quiet, offered a lot as Egan really shone, 19 touches and was a catalyst throughout. And McAvoy as well, dominant in the centre, winning a lot of tough ball and stifling the Suns. She finished with 15 touches for her efforts. There was few positives for the Suns really, aside from Drennan, who was again at the forefront of everything as she's often been throughout this year. 19 touches, 9 tackles and a goal. And a clever taken goal from young Lucy Singleton stood out. It was really back to the drawing board for the Suns. It's been a long season, though I've learnt a lot from this one, particularly in the year. Up next for both sides now is a winnable one for the Suns as they entertain the winless Cats. And the Blues, they go to GWS knowing that they need to have another big victory and hope results go their way if there's any chance of making finals. Goals then, Virgo, Levi, Drennan and Single. For the Suns, Carlton, Vesio 5, Plain 2, McAvoy, Stevens, Walker, Brazali, O'Day and Moody. Best on ground, Drennan, Hearns and Surman definitely for the Gold Coast Suns. Vesio, Harrington and McAvoy for Carlton. And then we watched GWS. They got the win against the Cats, and the Cats remain winless. And they completed a hard-fought and battling win by 7. And the Cats found a rare vein of form early on, particularly hard to break down. Partly due to their tremendous pressure, they really did stifle GWS throughout the ground. They were dominant in the first term, 11-3 inside 50s, but has been the tail of the tape this year for them. They just didn't impact the scoreboard, and scoreboard pressure wins you games. Eamon McDonald again was at the forefront of anything Cats-based. 21 touches and 11 tackles for her. She is a superstar. But as she's found throughout this year, few help coming her way. Crocker Grills, she was a little bit of help for her, 17 touches and 7 tackles. And Gardner, she had 17 touches and 11 tackles. But GWS are a gritty side to beat, and under a furnace of pressure, the players stand up. Eva stood up as she often does for 18 touches, and Alice Parker, she got the job done for the Giants, finding ball, launching attacks, being very tough to stop down, particularly at the stoppages, and she finished the day with 25 touches and 4 tackles. The game could have really gone either way. Both sides played with tremendous courage and heart, but it was the better taken attacks from GWS that got this job done. And what was showcased really of GWS is that just cutting edge, that class that they've got, that the Catskills haven't quite found yet. Up next for the Cats is a game versus the Suns, which could go either way really. you'd fancy the Suns of that one, but based on this, the Cats could cause them trouble. The Giants, they have a tough game against the Blues, knowing that both have got finals hopes on the line. Both have to really go all or nothing in this one, so it should be an exciting game. Goals, McWilliams for Geelong, Zuricher and Staunton for GWS. Both McDonald goals for Geelong and Gardner best on for me for Geelong. Parker, Bennett and Staunton for GWS, the best on for them. Then we saw Collingwood. They beat the Saints emphatically by 46, and it was a masterclass of attacking football, and it cemented all but the top two, really. They continue their impressive lead, the Pies, and they're going to look very tough to beat. Hosting a new-look backline with injuries, it was always going to be interesting to see how this would slot in, how they would adapt to this very heavy transitional game, but they really put them doubts aside very early on. They absolutely stifled the Saints up forward, and when the ball came into the defensive 50, it was launch and launch and launch. The Magpies' pressure was telling. The Saints struggled to find the ball, aside from Patriarchos, who had 27 touches, but they just couldn't get it moving forward. As soon as the ball came anywhere near these girls, Lambert, 21 touches, 7 tackles, or Chocky, 15 touches, 5 tackles, you were stifled and you were wrapped up in good, hard tackling. Newman was the beneficiary of Davies' brilliant work. Her entries were outstanding. 3 well-taken goals for Newman. And Minoki again, her usual potent self, dominating in the contest and around the corridor. 29 touches and a Pies. And behind us, the Pies ran riot. And if they keep this up, they're going to be tough to play in finals. They play a real brand that is made for finals. The Saints up next, they finish off their year with the Eagles. They'll hope to finish the year strong. And the Pies, they have a dress rehearsal for finals. They entertain the Crows, and they go up to the Crows, and that'll tell us a lot about where this side is. Goal kickers then, Newman 3, Molly 2, Lambert, Leighton and Lynn for Pies, Martin and Volk for Saints. Best on, Davey, Lambert, Bonocchi, and Patriarchos, McDonald and Priest. Then we saw Brisbane. They defeated North by 15, and the Lions took the reign of the AFL season straight after. They accomplished a 15-point win, took the top spot in the ladder, and they look very good. They are very dominant up forward. North dominated the ball. They had 26 touches from Brunton. Kearney had 25 and Riddle had 25. And the Roos really did hold the possession well and kept a masterclass in the contest. But it's the Lions' ability to just apply pressure and really impact you when you do lose possession. Isabel Dawes in her second year was the personification of this. 19 touches and ran hard, tackled hard. Lutkins again, a beast down the back. Anything comes her way is quickly converted into an intercept mark and a score launch. And Hodder really, she took her chance, the final nail in the coffin. She worked hard all game to stop the exiting defence and gathered the ball, and with a moment of brilliance, she really got that tackle, got the hold in the ball call, turned it over and ended up kicking the goal. The Lions are just masters of having avenues to score from. They can score from anywhere, whether it be midfield, down the back, from turnover. They're a tough side to beat, and their game plan is tough because you've got to stop them and score at the same time. The Roos finish with a rip snorter at Arden Street. They host the Fremantle Dockers. They want to get back to the winning ways and really cement this spot in the final and really put their name out there. Brisbane, they play Melbourne, and this will be an interesting side because it's method versus aggression, and it should be a great game on paper. Goal scorers then, Davidson, Washina, Conway and Hodder, Abadjala and Bateman for North. Dawes, Lutkins and Sfark, Brisbane's best on, Brunton, Riddell and Kearney for North. Then we saw the Tigers. They beat the Eagles girls by 8, and the Tigers got another victory, albeit inaccurate but accomplished performance in what was really a slugfest at the Swinburne Centre. They started the game in dominant fashion, hitting and blowing the score out to 23 points, but the Eagles, have demonstrated this year, are resilient. They don't go away, and they chipped away at that lead. They lost McCarthy early on, and that didn't help really the charge, but Bowen was phenomenal in her absence, 21 touches and 5 tackles, and Collier was industrious against a real pressure cooker mid with 15 touches. But it was Brennan who was the star of the show for the Tigers, 14 touches, 2 goals, 2, as her experience took the game away. And a big special thanks as well to Conti, again, sensational, 24 touches, a real dynamo, a real clean user, and when the chips are down, her IQ is exceptional. For me, one of the best mids in this comp. Ellie McKenzie was unlucky not to get on the scoreboard as her work was fantastic. She was a great intermediary between midfield and half forward. She finished with 22 touches. All in all, it's been a great finish to the year. We did talk highly of the Tigers throughout the year, that once they got wins, confidence would be flying. They're building something quite special and they'll challenge in 2022. Richmond now face a tough end against the Doggies. Be a real test for them, and if they can get the win there and cause the upset, which it would be, it'd be a huge ending of the season for me. Eagles, they've got a winnable game against the Saints. The Saints are not playing well at the moment, and they'll look to put a bit of pressure on because the Saints do look vulnerable under a bit of pressure. Goal kickers then Stow 2, Brennan 2, Bernardi for Richmond. Bowen 2, Kelly, Cameron and Pope with a goal apiece. Conti, McKenzie and Brennan best on for me for Richmond. And Bowen, Collier and Kelly best on for West Coast. They beat the Dogs by 56 and they powered home, cemented their start in the finals, and it was a real warning shot with a comprehensive defeat, and it was a mauling of the Dogs at Norwood. Ebony Marinoff led the way, 24 touches, as the Crows girls just control the footy out the corridor. And when they do that in the contest, they're tough to beat. And the Dogs girls just didn't get a chance to impose their own brand on the footy. The Crows girls, they tackle so hard, and the girls at the Doggies were just under constant pressure. Marinoff herself, 6 tackles. Charlton, 12 touches, 7 tackles. It was a precious session from the Crows girls. And Phillips adds that touch of class. She was industrious, 14 touches and a well-taken goal. Shear as well, she had a long time out of injury. She looked impressive, 13 touches and 3 goals, as they really stuck the sword to the Dogs. Once they have that smell of blood, they're vicious. The Doggy superstar Blackburn came under constant attention, but she did well to get 19 touches and 6 tackles. And Lachlan took her chance as well with the tag on the other girl. She helped herself to 20 touches on the outside. But the strength in transition, the pressure from the Crows, just shows you what happens if you don't hit targets. If you don't, you are punished, and the Crows can play fast and control the footy. They are a complete side. Up next for the Crows is a tough visit to the Pies. Should serve as a classic tie and a real taster for finals. And the Doggies finish with a tough trip to inform Tigers, and they'll need to get a win to really cement a bit of hope into 2022. Goal kickers then Shear 3, Gould 2, Woodland 2, Phillips, Jones, Martin and Button and Randall. Too Good 2 and Lambert for the Doggies. Shear, Marinoff and Phillips best on for me for Adelaide. Blackburn, Lachlan and Lamb for the Doggies. And finally we finish with the Demons. They beat Freo by 5 and they showed their usual grit and determination as they cemented a finals berth with a battling win against a free-flowing and dangerous Fremantle side. At one stage they did look set to cruise to victory, but as often is the case with Fremantle Dockers, they have a level they can go to and they ran the Demon girls hard and close to the death. Paxman was a usual strong south, 24 touches, feasting off the supreme work, it has to be said, of Lauren Pearce, who's becoming the premier ruckman in this competition, 16 hit-outs and 21 touches. But Jorge was dominant up top, was a constant outlet for the midfield as well when they needed to relieve a bit of pressure. And also, going forward, she took 2 early goals at the start of the game that really set up this win. They led by 4 goals at half-time, which is testament to how good Fremantle are. Fremantle came out of the blocks hard in the second, forcing mistakes and really putting pressure on the Melbourne girls. Houghton snagging late in the third gave them the lead. And Ebony Antonio was a star in the second half, 14 touches, as they threatened to take the game away from the Demons. But in the end, it was them wise old heads. Daisy Pearce, a moment of brilliance. Her high footy IQ fed Gay for the winner. And the Demons sealed their spot in the final that they've become accustomed to in recent years. Up next, the Demon girls face the high-flying Brisbane side, and if they are going to go deep in this competition, it's a great test for them because Brisbane are primed this year. Fremantle have a chance to knock Roos out of the finals. Carlton will hope they do them a favour, and so will I. I'll be cheering them on hard as they face Roos. Row 2, O'Sullivan and Houghton, the goal kickers for Freo. Jorge 2, Daisy Pearce, McNamara and Gay for Melbourne. Roe Miller and Antonio for me, Fremantle, Lauren Pearce, Paxman and Daisy Pearce for Melbourne. And that's the AFLW wrap, round 8. We'll be back next week for the AFLW content. Tomorrow we'll have a little bit of a sneak preview of the Collingwood game because I'm going to that, so I'll give you a little bit of a taster, a bit of a pump up for that. We'll also have the tips videos. Until then, Pom out.